What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 10 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Monday, October 14th, 2024. I'm your host, Zach Malamud. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Please follow all of my social accounts listed below. And let's start off in the world of baseball as the New York Yankees head into the ALCS and game one of their series against the Cleveland Guardians tonight, starting at 7:38 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be Alex Cobb taking on Carlos Rodon in game one in the Bronx. Cobb is 0-1 so far in this postseason. Obviously, pitched last series against the Tigers, and Carlos Rodon as well is 0-1 with a 9.82 ERA, pitched last time out against the Royals in game two of the ALDS. So both pitchers looking to bounce back after their previous starts. And we look at this game overall, and it's going to be a battle between two teams that really have faced each other a lot in the recent postseason. As we go back to many years of 2022, 2019, 2017, all of those years, it's been Yankees versus Guardians, and they found a way to meet again as two of the top teams in the American League, the two top teams in the American League this year, with Cleveland leading the AL Central and New York leading the AL East. So when you look at this matchup overall, I think it comes down to who can score more runs. Obviously, Cleveland can put some bats to balls with Steven Kwan as well as Jose Ramirez in their lineup. And then the Yankees, you got Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Giancarlo Stanton, who all have had a solid impact so far this postseason. Of course, Judge is the story of will he wake up in the postseason, and when is the time that he finally erupts come postseason time. I think this could be a night where he could take advantage of a Alex Cobb. I know Cobb probably won't pitch too much in this one. Really a 3-inning guy, and then this Guardians team loves to rely on their bullpen. However, the other day, they really went deep into their bullpen. A lot of pitchers coming out in game 5 of their ALDS series against the Detroit Tigers. And yes, they won it in the end. The Guardians did, to move on, but they used a lot of arms out there. They did get a day off yesterday on Sunday, so that should rest up some of those arms out in the bullpen. But I mean, for this Yankees team, it's really for a team that's championship or bust. This is kind of the series that the Yankees had hoped for. They're on their home field. It kind of is controlled by them. And when you look at this series, it is a winnable one against Cleveland based on previous years and what the Yankees have been able to do to the Guardians in the playoffs recently. I think when you look at it from the Yankees' point of view, it's one that they definitely should win. And throughout the season, the Guardians lost the season series 4-2. The Yankees won it. Obviously, they went to Cleveland for a couple of games, a doubleheader in one of those series in Cleveland. But the Yankees, with 4 wins to 2 against Cleveland this year, they've had their number. And I think when you look at it tonight, Rodon needs to get back to his season form, obviously, and get away from what that start brought against Kansas City. I felt like it was too many hits on the board. Yes, he had the strikeouts, and that's what you want from the Yankee starting pitcher. But the hits allowed to the Kansas City Royals in game 2 was just too much. And 7 hits is a lot in just 3 2/3 innings. So he needs to fix that, not allow as much contact to these Guardians hitters, and a team that likes to play a little bit of small ball, but it also can rely on the long ball, the Cleveland Guardians. Rodon needs to stay away from those guys and really challenge these hitters and continue on where he was in terms of those strikeouts. Like I mentioned, 7 in game 2 of the ALDS. So he needs to get back to his regular season shape. Alex Cobb on the other side needs to avoid guys like Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, as well as Giancarlo Stanton. Those 3 hitters, and if he can really limit them, and like I said, he's maybe going to be out of the game a little bit earlier with Cleveland wanting to rely on their bullpen. But if the first time in the order he allows Soto, Judge, and Stanton to really go to work, it could be a long day for Cleveland. So Alex Cobb, his goal is not give too much to those main hitters as the Yankees look to win game one on their home field. And if Cleveland is able to steal one in New York, they're going to be feeling really good going back to Cleveland, as there's now 2 games in the Bronx, then there's 3 games in Cleveland, as well as then the last 2 games, games 6 and 7, will be in New York. Obviously, the changing with a 7-game series, different format in baseball. If the Guardians are able to grab one, it could be a huge, huge, huge win for them heading back to Cleveland and looking to close it out with 3 straight wins, probably on their home field. So should be a good one. Alex Cobb, Carlos Rodon. It's game 1 of the ALCS. Guardians, Yankees in the Bronx. Tune in at 7:38 later. Let's head out west as the New York Mets had a poor start to their NLCS series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers win game 1 9-0 to take a 1-0 series lead in this championship series. And I think the story throughout for the New York Mets was their inability to hit. Jack Flaherty, the Dodger starter, was really, really strong in this one. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks on 98 pitches. 98 pitches in 7 innings. The efficiency really, really strong for Jack Flaherty in this one, and he gave the Mets really no chances at all to get involved in this game. Only 3 hits on the day for the Mets. And when you look at how it started for the Mets in this one, Kodai Senga getting the start in game 1, and he just struggled in the first inning and then the rest to really get things going and get his pitches in the right areas. Only 1 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, no strikeouts, and 4 walks in an inning and a third. Like I mentioned, when you look at Senga, it just didn't, the stuff was not there correctly for him, and he got into that bases loaded jam in the bottom of the first, thought he was going to get out of it, but all of a sudden Max Muncy comes in with a 2-run single to center field, and all of a sudden it's a 2-0 Dodger lead. Ohtani added to it in the second inning to make it 3-0, but 30 innings pitched, obviously not a good performance for Kodai Senga, and one that he has to bounce back from later in this series. But Jack Flaherty, I'm going to go to the Dodgers side of things. What a performance. Obviously didn't have a great game against the Padres in his previous series, got a loss in that one, and then all of a sudden comes out flying in game 1 of the CS. And the Dodgers, their pitching staff has been tremendous so far this postseason. They actually tied a postseason mark of 33 straight scoreless innings heading back to game 3 of the NLDS series against the Padres. 33 straight scoreless, and they tie the postseason record there. They just need one more to break the record. The Dodgers pitching overall has just been really strong, and Flaherty giving them 7 innings strong was really, really important for them. Obviously, coming off of a 5-game series, the Mets only had to play a 4-game series in the DS. So when you look at the Dodgers, they didn't have to rely on their bullpen too much. Hudson and Kasparius both came in, but at that point, the game was really out of hand with the scoreboard really favoring the Dodgers at that point. And I think when you look at it from the Mets' point of view, you just got to throw this one out. Obviously, the Dodgers were better in every facet of the game in this one. 9-3 in hits. Mets had 2 errors as well in this one. So everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for the New York Mets in game 1. However, they now have a chance in game 2, and let's switch it over as the Mets take on the Dodgers today. 4:08 start. It's Sean Manaea taking on Ryan Brazier for the Dodgers. Dodgers going with a bullpen game. It was announced by Dave Roberts, and Brazier gets the start. But the Mets have their star pitcher on the mound, Sean Manaea, obviously really strong so far this postseason. He's 1-0 in 2 starts, a 2.25 ERA, 12 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, and he's been really strong for the Mets, obviously. And they need him to really step up against this tough Dodgers lineup. I think when you look at it from the Dodgers point of view, they say, all right, well, maybe our pitching is a bit weaker. However, they've been really strong so far. Plus, you add in how great their lineup is with the big bats and having Freddie Freeman there as well in the Dodger lineup, although he's hobbling around, still finding a way to get hits. If you're Manaea, you really need to shut down this lineup today and give your offense a chance to get by this strong Dodger pitching so far this postseason. So when you look at it, Manaea needs to be strong. And I think if you're the Mets, you really need to allow Manaea to get his work in and not really take him out early or anything. You have to trust your star pitcher in this one, and he needs to step up big time. This is a lineup that Sean Manaea has faced kind of often. Obviously, he's been a West Coast pitcher for all of his career, Oakland, San Diego, and San Francisco. But San Diego and San Francisco especially, that means he's faced a lot of these Dodgers hitters, and Mookie Betts being the top one, 32 at-bats for Mookie Betts, and he's batting .313 against Manaea. But we talked about it on previous episodes. This is a different Sean Manaea than those previous years, and he's been really, really strong this year, and they haven't faced him this year just yet. So should be interesting. Game 2 of the NLCS between the Mets and the Dodgers. It's Manaea. It's Brazier. Game 2. Dodgers lead it 1-0. Mets need a win on the road if they want to come back to New York. 3 straight games at Citi Field, and they need to grab a win to split in LA to come back confident with 3 games in New York in the next week or so. Let's take things to Sunday Night Football, and a disappointing one for the New York Giants as they fall 17-7 at MetLife Stadium to the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals move to 2-4. Giants also move to 2-4. And the story of this one, I'll look at Daniel Jones' stat line: 22 of 41, 205, no touchdowns, and 1 interception, as well as 2 sacks. In this one, he had 11 carries for 56 yards on the ground. Tyrone Tracy had 17 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown. I think credit to the Bengals defense. They really shut down a lot of parts of this Giants offense. However, the Giants, it just comes down to missed opportunities, and they went for it on 4th down a couple times, didn't convert. They missed 2 different field goals. Greg Joseph in the end. Obviously, Graham Gano out right now, and Greg Joseph has taken over the kicking duties. But when you look at this Giants offense, it missed opportunities in the end, and they got the ball to their top weapons, but it seems like not enough. And the efficiency just wasn't great in this one. 6 receptions, 57 yards for Slayton, 5 receptions, 50 yards for Wan'Dale Robinson. Both of them, though, had 11 targets. So some missed throws, and yes, that's credit to the Bengals defense who's stepped up in the last couple of weeks and really have tried to figure things out and give their offense really a chance in games to breathe. Obviously, the disappointing game in overtime against the Ravens last week really just set a fire, I believe, under this Bengals team, and they were coming in with a lot to prove. Joe Burrow wasn't fantastic in this one, but he was just good enough, as the Bengals really relied on their defense to get them over the line. Burrow, only 208 he threw for. No touchdowns, no interceptions. He had the long rushing touchdown, though. 4 carries, 55 yards. Obviously, the 47-yard touchdown gave the Bengals the 7-0 lead, and they led for a lot of the first half, for all of the first half, really, after that touchdown from Joe Burrow. And the Giants built a bit of a comeback. Tyrone Tracy tied the score, but then it was the Bengals who really controlled things and were able to put some drives together, put some scoring drives together. Yes, it came down to a late touchdown from Chase Brown that really lopsided the scoreboard, I feel, a little bit more than it should have been. The Giants were really close in this one, but I feel like Daniel Jones, in the end, we talk about the previous couple of games. I said it was just solid performances and allowing your team to rely on your defense as well as get the offense rolling and just put enough on the scoreboard to make your defense comfortable. And he didn't do that. They did not put up points, and that is the problem here. As only 7 points on the board, and it didn't come till the second half. The first half, they need to be better, put some drives together, but Daniel Jones, it maybe is one to forget after a good spell of games. Like I said, his stat line, only 22 of 41, and then the no touchdowns plus an interception is just not good enough for this Giants offense. They need a little bit more, and with Malik Neighbors out in this one, Devin Singletary out in this one, I don't know how much Giants fans really expected here. However, they, with the guys that they had and what they were able to do against Seattle last week, they proved that even without guys like Neighbors and Singletary, they can get the job done. They weren't able to do that in this one, and I think they need to look to next week. Hopefully their guys are coming back healthy, Neighbors as well as Singletary. The Giants are going to take on the Eagles next week, so should be a tough one for them. They are at home, and now they head into division play, really, and try and figure things out there as the Giants fall to 2-4. It's a Bengals 17-7 win at MetLife on Sunday night, and Philadelphia comes to town next Sunday. And let's head into a Monday Night Football preview. It's the Buffalo Bills at 3-2, taking on the 2-3 New York Jets. Obviously, all the noise this week. Jets coming in with a new head coach. The interim head coach, Jeff Ulbrich, takes over for the fired Robert Saleh earlier this week. An 8:15 start tonight, and Buffalo comes in as 1-point favorites, which actually is a drop spread. Buffalo came in as 3-point favorites, and now the spread sitting at just 1, total at 41.5 tonight. I think when you look at it, the Jets with a fire in their belly to get a good start under Jeff Ulbrich and really turn this season around after a couple of losses, one on the road in London or across the pond in London, and then the other one at home to the Denver Broncos in the last 2 weeks. And the Jets need to find a way to get a win. And if they do, they will be tied for first place in the division with the Buffalo Bills. So Bills come into this one feeling a little bit bad as well, coming off of 2 losses of their own. Baltimore in 1 week and Houston in another. And frankly, those games, Baltimore, it was a trouncing. Houston, the Bills really gave that game up at the end in my mind, going for 3 passing plays and really giving the ball back to Houston in the end with an easy field goal to win the game. I think the Bills could easily be sitting at 4-1 right now if they manage that Houston game correctly. But they come in off 2 losses and really something to prove in the AFC East right now. But when you look at it, I think we talked about it all week. This one comes down to Aaron Rodgers and how comfortable he is with a new play caller coming in for the Jets, and or just a switch in play callers. Nathaniel Hackett not going to be the play caller anymore for this offense. It just comes down to Aaron Rodgers feeling comfortable with these plays, plus the fact that they need to get Breece Hall really a lot more involved than he has been in the last couple of weeks. And yes, they played 2 good defenses against Minnesota as well as Denver, but Breece Hall needs to get back to where he was last season because it's just not been enough right now for the New York Jets. And I feel like they have not given him the opportunity to be successful right now so far this season. And for that, they need to get him more involved and get this offense rolling. The defense has been great each and every week, it seems, for the New York Jets. It's just a matter of this offense being able to put up points, and they have not been able to do that, especially in the last 2 games. So when you look at it, Jets taking on the Bills, Bills as 1-point favorites right now. I'm going to take the Jets. I am a Jets fan. I'm hoping that they get a win tonight and really turn things around. I look back to last year against the Buffalo Bills, and yes, hopefully for Jets fans' sake and my sake that Aaron Rodgers does not get hurt Monday night against the Buffalo Bills at MetLife Stadium, but that they find a way to grab a dramatic win or something. I think the Jets need one of those to really boost the confidence of this team. Sitting at 2-3, it's just not good enough right now for a team that expects to be a Super Bowl contender this season and really challenge for the AFC East and trying to get into the AFC playoffs. So when you look at it, I'm going to take the Jets. I will also take the under in this one. I think the defenses really come out strong here and challenge these offenses. I think Josh Allen, when you look at it, he's been good some games and bad other games against the New York Jets. Obviously, the last one was really, really poor last season at MetLife Stadium. So the Jets can take advantage of Josh Allen in games like this. And I feel like Buffalo may need to risk a little bit more to try and grab a win here on the road. It will be a tough one going up against this Jets defense. So when you look at it, I'm going with the Jets as well as the under. Should be a good one. 8:15 tonight. It's the 3-2 Bills, the 2-3 Jets. A huge battle in the AFC East. Tune into that one later. But that'll do it for episode 10 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malamud. Thanks for watching and talk to you all on Wednesday.